and welcome to BBC School Report here at Bootham School. In this report we're going to be talking about the Oscars, everything from the best dress to the boycott. In this report we're going to be interviewing two of our very own teachers, Kerry and Peter, two of Bootham's very own film experts. Hello, we're here today with Kerry, our new Head of Learning Support. We're talking about the Oscars and the winning film Spotlight. So, we heard that you've seen the new film Spotlight that won the Best Original Screenplay. Do you think it deserved the Academy Award?
I do, definitely. I think it's a very powerful film, obviously because it is a true story, that the impact definitely increases as you're watching it. I think that films of an expose sort of nature are really important because I think it's important for people to, understand what has happened in terms of key events. So yeah, it's a very powerful film, very harrowing, and definitely the dramatic tension is quite intense because of the subject matter. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
So what was your favourite part of the film?
It's quite a slow film. There is a sense of pace, but also at times it is quite slow, and it does build up that drama and that tension. And I think some of the scenes that are based in the offices with a couple of the main characters, when they're kind of unravelling the seriousness of what's actually happened to the story surrounding the young people, is very powerful. So the acting is really, really subtle, but extremely dramatic.
So the fact that it was a true story, because it was real life, did you connect with the characters more and connect with the story more?
I think any film that is centred around very sensitive subject matter such as abuse and very, very sort of harrowing situations are always going to have a big impact. And I think the fact that it was completely true, it was a true story, just makes that impact more powerful.
So we know you like film. We also know you like books.
Do.
So what is your favourite book at the moment?
I have a few favourite books that I've picked out. I do like Albert Camus' The Outsider, although I know it's, as far as I'm aware, it's also named The Stranger, or maybe I've got the title totally wrong. But his book is great. I do love the narrator, the main character in that text. I also like a lot of popular text, Nick Hornby, Tony Parsons, that sort of thing. I just find them quite light-hearted and quite easy to read, easy accessible stories. And I've always liked Catcher in the Rye, To Kill a Mockingbird, all those sorts of books, contemporary text. And as a child, the one author that sticks out to me is Roald Dahl. So he was somebody that actually was quite significant in my childhood when I was a young child.
So I know we have a lot of Roald Dahl in the library. Would you recommend it for year 7s and 8s to go and read it, and everyone to go and read the books?
Yeah, completely. I read all of them, and I think they are very, very magical and create some really interesting pictures in your mind, which is part of the reason for reading. And I think the imagination, the sense of imagination in those books are certainly remind me of my childhood, and I think that I think they're definitely good to read.
So speaking of school, you just started here this year, so how are you finding being a new teacher here at Bootham?
Well, Bootham is very different from any school I've worked in. I've worked in a lot of schools, and I will say that out of all the schools I've been in, Bootham is by far the friendliest. I've felt extremely welcomed. I think it's a very special environment, and I'm enjoying my time here already, and I'm only 2 months in, so very, very positive impression.
So what do you enjoy most about teaching here?
I think there's a lot of variety in my day, which is great. I think working with different departments, different staff, and getting to know staff has been brilliant. The students are real individual, and there's a real sense of liveliness about the place, which is something I really enjoy in terms of just being here on a day-to-day basis, and the chance to get to know lots of children and their families, really. So that's been really important in terms of me settling in.
Well, thank you for letting us interview, Kerry.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hello, we're here today with Peter, one of the teachers of various subjects here at Bootham. We've heard you like films. Which ones are your favourites and why?
My favourite film's a 1950s black and white film called The Cruel Sea. and it's a Second World War epic set in the Atlantic, but there's no real war or conflict that happens in it. The main conflict is about the men who man the ship and just how they have to live together, and the common enemy for everybody is the sea.
But what's the worst film you've ever seen and why?
I think that'd have to be King Kong, and just simply because I don't like films that last more than 2 hours, and that lasted nearly 4 hours. And I know you're supposed to have real sympathy with King Kong at the end of that film, and he's being killed, but I knew what was going to end. And even in my head, I knew that King Kong was an ape, and I was telling myself off for calling King Kong a monkey, and I was with other people, so I couldn't leave. And I was just thinking to myself, just kill the monkey and I can go home. Please, kill the monkey and I can go home. And I don't think that was how I was supposed to feel about King Kong.
So the Oscars was 8 days ago, and do you know anything about the boycott that happened surrounding the Oscars?
Yeah, there were lots of actors and people in the film profession from ethnic minorities who decided to boycott the Oscars or boycott part of the Oscars because there wasn't a single person represented in all of the nominations who wasn't white. And the vast majority of them in the technical support Oscars as well were male, and it's a very white male dominated industry. And I think part of that is the reason there are no people from ethnic minorities coming through to get nominated in these roles in either the film or the background roles is because Hollywood tends to employ white people in actors' roles. Off the top of your head, you can think of very few ethnic minorities actors who can actually star and take a blockbuster film all the way to the cinema. So we've got a few. We've got kind of Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, and that's it really. Whereas you could sit here for half an hour and name the white male actors who are lead roles in a film. And so until Hollywood starts to put more and more ethnic minority actors and ethnic minorities, be more diverse in the people it employs in the background, we're not going to see ethnic minorities making it through to the Oscar ceremonies.
Do you think cinema in the past 10 years has gone downhill, and if so, why?
I think sometimes some cinema's rubbish. I can look back at some of the films of my youth and they're absolutely dire, but some of the films of my youth are fantastic. And I think it doesn't matter how much money you spend on something, it's the storyline and the story arc, and really it's down to the director as well and the direction that they do take the film in. And one of my favourite films of recent times was the one set in Iraq. I'm trying to think of its name now. The Green Zone. And the Green Zone won Best Oscar that year, and that cost nothing to make, but its production values and the directing and the acting was superb. It was up against films that cost 7-8 times as much money to make, and it was the much better film because it had you gripped. You were sat there on the edge of your seat and you really wanted to know what happened.
Our last question is, if you had a film based on you, who would play you and why?
I'd like to say someone like Ray Mears, because I spend quite a lot of time outdoors. But I suspect it'd be somebody quite comedy. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Okay, thank you, Peter, for talking to us
No
today.
problems. I hope the rest of your day goes well.
Thank you.
10 best dressed at the Oscars. In 10th place, we have Margot Robbie. In 9th place, we have Brittany Snow. In 8th place, we have Kerry Washington. In 7th place, we have Brie Larson. In 6th place, we have Mella Golding. In 5th place, we have Sarah Hyland. In 4th place, we have Karoosh Tran. In 3rd place, we have Jennifer Lawrence. In 2nd place, we have Christine Teigen. In 1st place, we have Priyanka Chopra. 10 best couples at the Oscars. In 10th place, we have Bryan Cranston and Robin Burden. In 9th place, we have Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis. In 8th place, we have Annabeth Gish and Wade Allen. In 7th place, we have Sacha Baron Cohen and Isla Fisher. In 6th place, we have Eddie Redmayne and Hannah Bagshaw. In 5th place, we have Christian Bale and Sibby Balzic. In 4th place, we have Ashley Tisdale and Christopher French. In 3rd place, we have Sylvester Stallone and Jennifer Fallon. And in 2nd place, we have Christine Teigen and John Legend. And in 1st place, even though they're not a couple, we have Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet because we think they're the best couple.